Good morning, folks. Hi, Phil McPhail here. Welcome back to our channel. Hey, today we've got a big day in store for you, and I hope you stick around and watch this video because we've got a really special property here located at 242 Bottle Lake Road in the town of Springfield. What I have behind me here is a 1,764 plus or minus square foot, 3-bedroom, 2-bath home that was built in 2015. It's got an attached garage. The one special thing about this, beyond all of that though, is 160 acres of beautiful timberland with miles of internal trails. We got a couple of water features. Stick around. I'm going to show you the land first. My wife Carmen is going to show you the home when we get back on our land tour. If you want to skip ahead, I'm sure you can. If you don't want to look at all this land, you want to see the house, fast forward the button. We'll try to put the time for that on the screen here for you. So let's go take a walk in the woods and then come back and you can take a look at this beautiful house. We're going to get started on our hike of the land, and you can see the house is right here. This is the main trail that leads out into the woods. And while we're walking, I'm going to tell you a little bit about this area and where we're located. If you're not familiar with Springfield, Maine, we're located in eastern Penobscot County, about 22 miles east of Lincoln. The nearest services here will be about 2 miles away in downtown Springfield, and it's a very small town. There's one general store there with gasoline and a post office, but you can be there in about 5 minutes from this location. Like I said before, the town of Lincoln will be the biggest service town. You've got a hospital, doctor's offices, dentist's office, grocery stores, service garages for vehicles, car dealers, everything you could ever want, restaurants. That's 22 miles away. It's about a 25-minute ride from this home. City of Bangor, 70 miles to the south. That's the international airports there. And if you've watched our channel, you've heard about Bangor a lot, but it is a nice small city. Some great food options down there. All kinds of shopping, cultural events. You can check that out. If you're looking for a second home, maybe you're coming from southern Maine, Portland is just under 200 miles drive from here, probably 2 hours and 45 minutes, maybe I'll call it 3 hours. And the city of Boston from this location is about 305 miles, under 5 hours drive to this spot. So it's pretty well located here in the center of Maine, over here on the eastern side of it. We're out behind the house now, probably couple hundred yards, and the first stop here on our tour of the land, we've got a nice bench rest here, built out here in the woods. We've got about 150 yards of visibility here, so a nice little shooting place if you want to do some target practicing back here in the woods, away from the house and your neighbors, so you don't bother them too much. And then you'll notice off to my left is one of many trails we're going to see today that kind of loops around, connects back up onto the main road here. If you're a hunter or an outdoors person, you like maybe just riding bikes out here in the woods, you got miles of trails here. I think I measured it about almost 2 miles of trail, and that's what I could see on the first walk through here this winter. So let's keep walking, and we'll talk about the area here while we're going to see some of the other cool features of this property. All right, let's talk about the region here around this home at 242 Bottle Lake Road in Springfield. This is a beautiful area, folks. I've lived here for a long time, not too far from this property. Let's see, we got the Springfield Fair, one of the oldest agricultural fairs in the state of Maine. Established in 1851, I believe the only year they ever missed was the year of everybody's favorite topic in the comment section, COVID. That fair will be celebrating their 175th anniversary this year. That's pretty cool. That's 2.5 miles from this home. So if you're into fairs, that's something you can check out. They do have a really nice website, so you can see all the events that are scheduled for 2025. One of the other things about this area that I really enjoy, and a lot of people that live in the area do as well, is the lakes of the Lakeville region, and that's the West Grand chain of lakes. You've probably heard of that. West Grand Lake, one of the biggest lakes in eastern Maine. Got dozens of interconnected bodies of water over there. 5 miles to the Bottle Lake Landing and Lakeville, and 6.7 miles to the landing on Lower Sisselodobsis Lake. You can have your boat in the water here in less than 10 minutes from this location, so that's pretty cool. As we continue our hike, we'll keep pointing things out. another branch of trails. The former owner was an avid outdoorsman hunter, has trails here everywhere so he could get to his stands and not disturb the deer on the way there, no matter what the winds were doing. Really cool property. If you're a hunter, you're gonna love this. What else is in the area? We got the Down East Lakes Land Trust that was established quite a few years ago that has got a 57,000 acre community forest open that never will be shut down for public access. Great hunting area, 91 miles of conserved, undeveloped shoreline along those lakes we were just talking about. Beautiful area. When you get up here in Maine, you need to check that out. Whether you're buying a property or not, it's one of the nice, unique features of this part of the state. As we're walking through here, you'll notice the former owner had a few food plots set up in different places. Nothing really large, but a little grassy area like this back here in the woods really keeps the wildlife feeling comfortable. Nice trail hindering there with thicket all the way around it, so kind of controlled access over there for the animals to come out feathered into the woods. What you see in here is a really nice mix of timber. We've got spruce, fir, very little pine, but we do have a lot of red maple, white birches, some poplars as you come back here in the woods. It's a nice mixed growth forest. Has had a thinning harvest a number of years ago, so we've got some uneven age growth in here, which is really exciting as far as the wildlife are concerned. They're browsing. We're going to see sign everywhere we go here today. I walked this back in early March with snow on the ground still, and the amount of white-tailed deer sign in here was staggering. And I'm sure I didn't know the owner well, but I know he liked to hunt. I see some of his deer tags on the oil fill cap out there, so obviously he was relatively successful. We're going to keep walking, talking a little bit more about the land. We're going to go check out a couple little water features. I'm going to show you here when we get to it. It's a pretty good hike. Probably should have brought a four-wheeler, but hey, good walk in the woods is good for us. And we got some high knolls, and we do have a wetland right at the very back of the property with a small stream running. Property goes right to that stream, and what a wildlife draw that is. So stick around, we're going to check that out here in a little while. All right, we're back here quite a ways now into the property, probably at the halfway point of the lot as it goes back towards the town of Carroll. And at this Y here, this trail is going to go to the left. We're going to follow this around. Eventually it ties into another trail system on the other side of a big hill over here. We'll show you a little later, and it comes back around and hooks back to the main trail. All of this, there are a few trees that came down this winter when the heavy snows and winds, but a little cleanup here. It won't take long to get this opened up. Most everything we've seen here, we can drive in two-wheel drive pickup trucks, or even a car could drive on the roads we were in so far. Call this picnic point. Obviously, we got a fire pit here. Charcoal grill, table and chairs, an old picnic table. Probably ought to go into the fire pit, but that's all right. Good place to park another one. And again, we got a clearing here. Probably was a good food plot at one time, needs a little work. We're going to keep on trucking just so you can see where we're at here. Kind of have the overlay of the tax records, and they're not great in this town, but we're right here in the center. That's about where we're at 720 feet of elevation. So we're going to follow this trail, keep on showing you the land. All right, we're heading out of the picnic area, and we're going to keep walking towards the back of the property. And another trail groomed here. If you don't have a tractor and you buy this property, you're going to want to get one, because you're not going to want to let all of this work that's been done grow back to bushes. The soils in here, according to the NRCS soil survey, are running at about 70% stony, silty loams of pretty good quality. And you can't probably see it, but the tree growth from the young trees here is amazing on this property. It's a well-drained site. We're here at the end of April. Everywhere else I've been this week, very wet. But here is nice and dry. You know, the ground's still a little soft from winter, but not bad. As you look off in the distance, we have some really large, some sugar maples, some red maples, beautiful trees, and they're the young ones that are coming up. If you can see that lead over there on that balsam fir is probably 20 inches long. Some incredible growth. We got some white pine seeding in the shade over here, and there's one in there about 15 feet tall, and that lead on the top is, oh gosh, 16 inches. So some really incredible growth here. So got to be good soils. That's what you find when you have good soils, is everything grows, vegetables and trees. I'm gonna keep walking here, and we'll stop at the first water feature next. Okay, we're down here at this first water feature that I mentioned earlier, and you're not going to see this on the map. You'll see it on my map because I've kind of marked where it is roughly on the land. It's I'm guessing it's a seasonal stream. It's probably mostly snow and spring runoff, but there is a channel here. It looks like it runs a good part of the spring, probably all fall, and when the rains in the fall come back in. We're sitting in between this ridge off to our south. That's the high point of the land. We're going to walk up there and check that out. But, you know, there's some old trees and stuff laying here that's slowing the water down, causing it to not run off so quickly. It doesn't get muddy. It's all crystal clear water now. Got some beautiful hardwoods running along through this stream, and I don't know if you can see them in the distance, but just a beautiful spot. I can see this being an excellent place for a deer stand. Depending on the wind, maybe set one on the ridge right over here or the ridge over here. This will be wildlife attracting water supply. So, all right, we're gonna go up and check out this ridge. It's gonna take us a little bit to walk to the top of that, but we'll show it to you when we get there. I jumped across a little creek, and there's a massive deer track right here. And I will tell you what my dad always told me: you can't eat tracks, but boy, what a nice deer. And that was fairly recent, very fresh sign. Probably scared him out of here getting a drink when we were talking and flying the drone. Let's go look at this mountaintop. We're down here at the stream again, getting ready to head. I just want to give you the elevations here. They run from about 600 feet above sea level to 760, roughly, maybe almost 770. We're down here by that little creek we just showed you, and this is at 660. This is the hill we're going to climb, and we're going to go check out. You can see this does come up pretty abruptly, and you know, it's a pretty open section of woods. We've got some big hardwoods, some big softwoods in here mixed, and this is a very dramatic change of elevation. As you can tell, I can see a deer trail right here in front of me. Obviously, another travel corridor. We'll keep walking. We'll get to the height of land and see if we can see any views. I suspect we probably won't be able to without doing some major tree clearing, but we're going to check it out anyway. All right, we've climbed almost 100 feet of elevation, and two things occur to me. One, I'm going to be 60 here shortly, and I need to lose 25 pounds. So you guys hold me to that. Yeah, but man, the top of this hill is even better than I was envisioning it. I didn't see it here in the wintertime. Oh God, I'm panting like a dog. But it's open. It's a lot of sugar maple in here with a gravity feed. I mean, you could start a sugar bush operation here in no time. There are some other species in here other than maple, but primarily it's maple. Some yellow birch. See a couple ash trees, I think, off all the way over in the distance. Probably ought to cut those before that ash borer gets up here to this part of the world. But man, what a spot for a little backwoods cabin. If you wanted to do just a place where, you know, you told your wife you're going fishing for the 5th day in a row and she kicks you out of the house, you get a place back here to hide. Or, you know, vice versa, maybe she told him she was going fishing 6 days in a row. Either way, what a cool spot up here. And we can see the mountains off in the distance. From the drone shot, you could see Lowell Lake off in the distance. And I can just see it. Once the leaves come on here in another 2 to 3 weeks, you won't have this view. But it's a pretty cool spot up here in the middle of nowhere. But look how all these large hardwoods, there's almost no undergrowth here at all. Kind of a mature hardwood forest. Beautiful, beautiful. I finally caught my breath. So anyhow, what else are we going to show you? We'll show you some more trail work, and then we're going to go back out to the house, meet up with my wife, and have her take you for a tour of this fairly new home. All right, we are almost dead center of the height of land, which I think is right there. Before we leave this ridge, I forgot to mention, and we got a lot of things to cover today, so we're not going to walk down to it, but there's a wetland at the base of this hill, right near the back of the property on the eastern side. And there's a creek that runs through that feeds into Lowell Lake. The little creek we crossed earlier today, that feeds into that creek, which then runs into Lowell Lake. So you talk about a dramatic drop. It drops right down, straight off this ridge and hits that wetland and then just flattens right out. And at the base of that, this winter I was in here, the deer sign, amazing. Because you know how deer love the edges. They're working that edge with very little pressure, because to get there, you got to come through this property or find a way to slog across that bog. And I don't think anybody would like to do that. And I'm sure the deer don't even do that. So got to check that out while you're up here. I'm going to keep walking. We're over here in the south, near the south border, according to the map, and we've got some amazing trails going everywhere. This 8x10, it looks like actually it's probably 8x12 shooting shack up on blocks. Doesn't look like much from the exterior, but inside looks quite good. It's even got there's some hornets flying around in there, so I'm not going to open the door, but looks like you could put a little heater in there, stay nice and comfy. Got a vent on the ceiling. It's a cool little spot. Got a trail that way, trail that way, trail that way, trail that way, and a trail that way. So, I don't know, I'm talking to all you hunters out there. You know what I'm talking about. All right, we're going to head back, try to get to the house here eventually if I can convince myself to leave this woodlot. Talk to you later. Well, folks, I'm walking this lot, and I think I mentioned earlier, I looked at it a little bit this winter. The more I look at this lot, I got to tell you, and if you don't believe me, come look at it. This is probably the nicest wooded lot I've seen in 15 to 20 years that was available to purchase. And don't make any mistake when you see the price on this property. If you think that's too much money, you go look around, see what else you could find. If I didn't already have a hunting property, I'd buy this one tomorrow. If you don't want the house, sell it off. Sell off a couple acres in the house and keep this. This is the finest piece of land I have seen in a long time. And come up and look at it. If you don't think it's a nice piece of ground, I'll buy your lunch. Let's go find my wife.
So Phil found me. So let's go in and take a look at this house here at 242 Bottle Lake Road in Springfield. One of the things I like about this house is this front entrance actually is the laundry room and coat closet combined. So if you're out, come in from outside and you're, you know, all filthy, you can actually undress right here, put your laundry where it belongs, go take a shower, and not have to wander through the house all yucky. Once you've come through the entry room, you can close that off so you don't have to listen to your washer and dryer so much. Also, it kind of makes this a little more cozy space. This is a really large living room. There's plenty of room for more furniture in here if you wanted it. I like the circular design that this house has. We're in the living room now. This is the kitchen, the dining room's over there, the bedrooms are over on this side, but you can actually walk all the way around on the outside as well as the inside. So let's take a look at the kitchen. It has this central bar, which as you can see is a great place to have your breakfast or a snack at lunchtime. It has laminate countertops and decent quality cabinetry, a 5-burner gas stove with gas oven. It also has a dishwasher. It really is a good amount of space for you to cook and clean and do all of the things that you do here in the kitchen. From the kitchen, you can walk right into the formal dining room. Plenty of room here. As you can see, there's a buffet and other furniture in here. You could easily put a larger table in here. You know, she has extra storage there, but she has a lot of stuff. And so, you know, there's plenty of room for furniture in this house and storage in this house. One of the other great features of this house is it has an attached, I'm going to call it a 2-car garage. You could put 2 small cars in there. Some people would say, it's barely big enough for one. Out here in this garage, you can see that you come right in toward the kitchen. So when you go to Lincoln and do your shopping and, you know, stop at Martin's, then you can bring all your stuff in the house and take great care of it without it getting wet or cold or snowy or it blowing away. As I mentioned, from the living room, you can also go directly to the bed area. The master bedroom is here on my left, and there's another small bedroom here on my right, and the main bath is right here. As you can see, this was set up as a child's bedroom, you know, twin bed. There's plenty of room for a larger bed in here. You could put a double-sized bed in here, or even maybe a queen. But, you know, nice guest room if that's what you want to use it for. There is, like I said, the master bedroom, and that thing is huge. And then there is another room downstairs that could easily be finished into a bedroom. It's already started that way. Head into the master suite. This area completely closed off from the rest of the house if you want it to be that way. This is the walk-in closet. Conveniently, the next thing is the master bath. This has a step-in shower instead of a tub in a shower. Much more convenient for us older people. And it also has a double sink. Then we're gonna walk right into the sleeping area of the master bedroom. As you can see, there are 2 double beds in here. There are a tall dresser, a long dresser, 2 nightstands, and a wardrobe, plus a bookshelf. So if you wanted to just have your king size bed in here, you could actually fit a little bit of a sitting area in here as well, but you don't need to, because beyond this door is a nice little seating area that's open to the kitchen that overlooks the backyard and has plenty of light. She used it as an office sewing room, but you know, this is a great seating area that you could, you know, put a door over there and keep right to yourself. Before I forget, don't forget to like, subscribe, hit the notification button, make sure that all notifications are on so you don't miss any of our videos. More about this house. It is 674 square feet here on this main floor. That is the entire finished part of the house. The basement has some finished, well, it has some partly finished space. There is a room that is all framed in and has semi-permanent walls. There's a sleeping area down there that'd be great for if you have your buddies over so that you can go hunting on your 160 acres out back. There's a seating area down there where you could play cards or the kids could hang out so that they're not up here in your living room. You know, there's a lot of options in this house. Let's go down and look at the basement next. We're starting here in the basement in this, what I call the camp sleep area. There's bunk beds here, there's a futon here, there's a refrigerator, you know, there's a television. They've painted the wall, you know, to their liking, but you know, you could easily put some raised floor in here because it is a basement. Remember that. Don't ever put something right directly on this floor, because unless you're just going to paint it, which would be a great idea. But because cement does seep moisture. One of the other features of the basement that I like is this huge sink. It's really deep, it's really wide. This is a single sink from here all the way to here. If you like to can, this would be a great place to get everything prepped. And then there is a wood stove here that I'll show you in a couple of minutes. You could actually do your canning on top of the wood stove. You know, like our grandmothers used to do. The source of heat in this house, there is a heat pump upstairs. I don't know if you noticed that when we were in the entry area, but there is a heat pump up there for both heat in the shoulder months and for AC in the summer. This is a wood and oil combination furnace. So you can either burn wood here, or that side of it burns #2 heating oil. So, you know, if you're home, burn the wood. If you're not home, you can turn it over to the oil side. It all goes into one chimney, which is kind of bizarre also. But because it is a combination and it's an either or, then they can't be run at the same time, then you can actually do that. What you shouldn't do has also been done here. They have also put the flue to the wood stove, which I mentioned when I was talking about doing a little canning, into the same flue. Now, if you were burning oil, you should not be running your wood stove on the same thing. If you're burning wood all the time, then it's not a problem to have both of them in the same flue. So here's another area in the basement that they're using for, I would say, for card play, and since it's got the card table in the middle. But, you know, you could use it for just hanging out or whatever. The elephant in the room is not an elephant at all. It is actually a one-up seat for a four-wheeler, which, if you were paying attention, there was one in the garage that is attached to the kitchen. There's also a garage door here, so if you like to work on and putter around, as my grandfather used to say, or tinker, you have easy access to this floor. There's a driveway that comes right down around, and there's a full-size garage door here in the basement, so you could bring a small vehicle in, or your ATV, or your snow sled. The final open area that we're going to look at is there's a workshop sort of area over here, and then there's wood storage over on this side. You could easily put the wood somewhere else. Truthfully, you know, it's convenient there because it's on the same side as the door to the furnace, but you could do whatever you want. You could put it outside in a shed if you wanted to and not have it in your house. And then in here is the, like I said, semi-finished. It doesn't have a floor. It does have walls. It actually has a door. And, you know, they've got this made up to be, I would say, a guest room. It's got a day bed in it. Could be your hobby room if you like to, you know, tie flies or reload bullets or whatever you like to do for a hobby. You could do that down here, crafts, you know, whatever. But it's a good size room. It does have regular ceiling in it, so it's not open to the rafters for the floor above. This house was built in 2015, and it is a modular. Now, for those of you who don't know the difference, a modular home is a stick-built home that is built inside of a factory and then brought to the site and placed on the foundation. A mobile home is something that is built also in a factory, but it is not stick built, and it is hauled here on wheels and then put onto a foundation, or not. Lots of times they'll put them on a slab, but this is a modular home, so it is a really stick built home. It just was built inside instead of on site. When they built this house, they put in a hot water heater, a Rinnai hot water heater that is a inline propane water heater, and that box right there is it. Unfortunately, currently, it is not functioning correctly. Something happened to it this winter. It is just one of those things that isn't working, but it's easily replaced. You take that one out, put another one in, done. These are all lines to the sinks and the tubs and all of that with shutoffs here. There's also shutoffs under most of the sinks upstairs. I didn't want you to get confused and think there was radiant heat anywhere. There is not. Okay, to finish up our utilities, let me think. There is a well drilled outside. It is in the front yard, which is the yard between the house and the road. There is a private septic. It is in the backyard, and that would be back behind that sitting room that's attached to the master bedroom. There is, you know, modern electric. Of course, this was built in 2015, so you would expect that. And it is a 200 amp entrance. So just to recap, we are at 242 Bottle Lake Road here in Springfield. The house behind us is 1,764 square feet on the main floor, and then another 144 semi-finished space in the basement. There's an attached 2-car garage. There's an underhome 1-car garage.
And this all sits on 160 acres of some of the most incredible hardwood timberland you're going to see anywhere.
The price on this property is $575,000. The taxes on it are just about $3,700. And you know, it really is a bargain. If you take a look at the wood out back, Phil says that he hasn't seen one that good in a long time. And the quality of the home is there. It was built in 2015. It is a modular home. It has 2 bedrooms, 2 baths, nice sized kitchen, formal dining room, a living room, and then the master suite on this is sweet for sure.
And all of this, and we're 5 miles from the Bottle Lake Boat Landing, 22 miles out of Lincoln. Great location. Come check it out with us today.
Don't forget to call us 207-290-0371 for me, or 207-290-0372 for him.